into the Eric Zane Show podcast. We meet again. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me in the Impact Power Sports studio. Impact Power Sports online at impactpowersportsmi.com. Drew, Kathy, Mary Lou. Drew and Mary Lou. Mary Lou is the sweet lady that I was like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And I'd met her many times before. Damn it. Welcome in. That's right, Impact Power Sports. Says Piano Finger Banger. You gotta throw in the power stereo FM. They are awesome. They are on 14 Mile Road in Rockford, Michigan. Check them out online. ImpactPowerSportsMI.com. Things like ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, e-bikes, snowmobiles, zero-turn radius lawnmowers. Did I say motorcycles? I think I did. Yamaha Golf Carts, Michigan's newest dealer of Yamaha Golf Carts. Right there at Impact Power Sports. There's already a comment about referencing yesterday's Who Are These Free Beers episode. It was interesting because Ben pulled clips from Who Are These Free Beers that had been heard before. But it wasn't a big deal because it's like there were new observations about the material. It was the moment that they had on their show where Greg was like, all right, guys, it's time for our next topic. And people want to know, how long do you wait to wash your clothes? That was actually the topic. And then he there's 800 people to ask that are in that room. All right, how often do you wash your clothes? And then he gives his answer. He goes, all right, there you go, Steve. How often do you wash your clothes? And it's like, what the fuck? So Ben and I had fun with that. It was beyond belief what they choose to talk about. I think when you're left with, all right, this is the subject matter, I mean, you're not giving yourselves a chance if the subject matter is, how often do you wash your clothes? And don't give me that nonsense of, yeah, well, we're so good at yes and so good at improv that no matter what we talk about, it's going to be great. That is not acceptable. Bob says that today Greggy was not there. And so I'm anxious to review that, to hear how it went. That could be something to park on for next week's Who Are These Free Beers? Honestly, I loved it when Free Beer wasn't there, because he is such a wet blanket on so many things that we wanted to talk about, that when we're like, oh, thank God he's not there, every one of us would breathe a sigh of relief. Like, oh, thank God. Thank God he's going to do us. He probably went to the football game in Alabama early because of the hurricane. I don't know. Maybe. And he does that all for $200 a game. So he probably left yesterday and spends all that time. Okay. 72 hours of time. So 200 divided by 72. That works out to $2.77 an hour. Chris says the amount of time he talks about it, you'd think he'd make $250,000. It's one of the worst paying jobs in America. Play-by-play man. color commentator, like the people that he does the games with, they get about $5,000 a game. And I'm like, why do you even bother? I make the same amount for driving to Van Andel Arena to do a basketball game. Jeremy says, what's more important, raising your children and having them know you love them and want to spend time with them, or $200? Exactly. Now, I don't know what cost him his first marriage. But if that had something to do with it, I'd quit. My God. As we get this show started today, I realize not everybody cares about baseball. And even less care about one particular team. And I don't know shit about baseball, and I've never claimed to. I don't know anything about the Tigers. All I know is that the month of September was outstanding for the Detroit Tigers. They were like an afterthought. And every once in a while, this will happen where a team will get hot and something magical will happen. But not only does one team have to get hot, someone else has to take a shit. And that has happened. The Tigers have been on fire. And the Minnesota Twins have stunk up the joint. So they flip spots. The Tigers are going to make the playoffs. I don't know what my deal is. Stand by. And it's down to the final 3 games of the year. And so the Tigers have 3 games left, and the Twins have 3 or 4. The magic number is 1. Easy, what's the magic number? Any combination of either a Tiger victory or a Twin loss, that number reduces. So if the Tigers win, the magic number is 0, they're in. If the Twins lose, the magic number is 0, the Tigers are in the playoffs. And they're red hot. Month of September, I think they've lost like 3 times. And in their last 10 games, they're 9-1. Last night, during the day, they went into the 6th inning down 3-0. Some jerk got a hit and scored a run. They ended up getting 2 runs in that inning. And then in the 8th, couple more plays. I don't know who the fuck these people are. Some dude hits a sacrifice fly. Tigers take the lead, never look back. Yesterday on the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. By the way, before I get to that, Jeremy writes, and the Tigers play the second worst team in the history of baseball. Chicago White Sox are awful. And the Twins play Baltimore their last 3 games. I think the Tigers trail Baltimore because there's 3 wild card playoff spots. And the Tigers are in the 2nd spot right now, as I understand it. In theory, if Baltimore loses their next 3 games, if the Twins sweep them and the Tigers sweep Chicago, the Tigers will be in the 1st wild card spot. It's unbelievable. Actually, the Tigers and the Royals are tied for the 2nd spot right now. I don't know. I just find it interesting. I just find it very interesting that I love stories, as you know. And I am a bandwagon jumper with the exception of the Lions. You know, if a team is doing well, I'm going to root for them. That's why right now I am rooting for the Michigan Wolverines. That's right. I can't even say that with a straight face. But honestly, I am quite impressed with the fact that they did the way they came back against USC was unbelievable. Michigan State, by the way, what a bunch of dicks. Holy shit. If you're Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions, you're very happy that the Tigers are doing well, and here's why. Because they've done okay. The Lions have. They haven't played a complete game yet. So Dan Campbell's like, Jesus Christ, now all the attention is on the Tigers. That gives me a bit of a respite of the pressure. Kenny says, quote, if a team is doing well, I'm going to root for them. Literally the definition of a fair weather fan. Exactly. And I want the term fair weather fan to not be a insult. That to me is appropriate. Because let me just tell you this. If I suddenly on this show start talking about how often I do my laundry and how often I load the dishwasher and recall of Yankee Candles, you aren't going to listen. I would not expect you to. That is fair weather. Okay? If I'm a pile of garbage in what I choose to discuss that's interesting, you're not going to listen because you're like, I can't do it. And that's what the world should be. That's why when a team sucks, no one goes to the game. So anybody who says that, oh man, I stick with my team win or lose, that's because you're stupid. Don't waste your goddamn time. And you got to send a message that, hey, this sucks dick. I'm not coming until you start to perform better. That's a free market solution. Don't waste your time on something that's garbage. If you're the person who goes to the Tennessee Titans game now, after they gave away their best player, and they suck, you're an idiot. So if anybody gives me grief about jumping on the Tigers bandwagon, no, that's because I'm smart. That's what smart fans do. Like, I don't even watch the Lions now. Like, I've rooted for them every game this year, and I do pay attention, but I haven't watched one snap. Not one. Okay, I listen. I will actually listen to the game on the radio so that I can be productive. You really got to work to get me to commit to sit down and do nothing else and watch you. Last year, I didn't watch a single game until the playoffs. But those games, I was focused and watching. All those other games, fuck it. I'm not doing it. The only game I watched was the Dallas Cowboys game, and that was horrible because it was a fucking weird ending, and I was watching it up north, and I was so pissed off. Half a pack of Newports later, I was like, God damn it! The comment that was made about Megan yesterday on the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. Now, if you aren't yet watching this live, in addition to watching it live, you can click on a link that I give you and actually be part of the Zoom. All right, so Ben and I are doing the show, and then it's kind of like a cast of characters who were kind of like all into, Aram says, you smoking squares now, Easy? No. When I'm up north, there might be the occasional Newport. That's about it. And then I'll go months without. It's an up north thing. It's a by the campfire thing. It's a law in Michigan. If you're standing by the campfire, you gotta have a square. While we're on that Ben and Eric Patreon podcast, I've got this armada of people who are very, very interesting. And as you know, if they're not, I'll make them interesting because there's no one better at pulling interesting stuff out of people than me. Amanda came back from the dead and explained her absence and the dilemma that her daughter is having. Oh, my God. What a fucking shit show that was. Ryan says it's true. The poverty Howard Stern, they say. Aram says if I had a dart, I'd be at 2 packs a day within a week. Oh, yeah, I can't do that. After about 2 or 3 in a day, I'm like, ugh, that's enough of this shit. No, thank you. It's just bad. But the first couple of them, you're like, yes. Look at that. Joe Martinez is here. He's from Mexico. God damn it. I just got done talking about Michigan and their success over USC. I'm still impressed by that. Maureen says, "Oh no." Brian says, "We need a wall." Linda says, "Fuck us all." I talked to a friend of mine, Tim Stevens, who is one of my next sponsors who'll be coming on very, very soon. He said he shocked Joe Martinez because he's a big Michigan fan too. He goes, what the fuck is he doing saying he prefers Ohio State over Michigan State? Like you would root for Ohio State to beat Michigan State. He goes, no, you don't do that. He goes, because Ohio State is usually much stronger. They're like right up there with Michigan every year. And Michigan State is, I mean, you can count on one hand the good seasons they've had there. Well, right now, Senor Martinez, he has the hammer after that crazy win over USC. It was a big win for them. Real big win. Will they lay an egg against Minnesota? I don't think so. I think they've figured out. I think the puzzle pieces are fitting together for those fuckers. All right. So Megan was there on the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast, and it looked like she was sitting on a toilet. You must be a $10 member on Patreon to see how that unfolded. We had a hell of a time talking with the cast. Aram says that Joe is a Fairweather fan. Where was he when Michigan sucked all those years? I don't know if that's true. I think he has always been a fan. I don't think Joe is a Fairweather fan. He's the guy I was just talking about who roots for the team even when they stink. Case in point, up until last year, the Grand Rapids Griffins stunk. They had this coach, Ben Simon, and he was horrible. And he bought season tickets and supported them. Kenny says, well, EZ, your definition of the fan who roots even when the team stinks is that the fan is stupid. And yes, that's correct. Okay? Maybe stubborn. Joe says, I also knew it was bad when Michigan had those crap coaches. Rich Rod, Brady Hoke, also terrible coaches for Michigan. Lloyd Carr, Gary Moeller, Bo Schembechler, Jim Harbaugh, horrible coaches. Joe also adds this, and this to me is pivotal. He says, technically, I am a Detroit Lions fan, but not as convinced as everyone. I've seen it before. He texted me last week and wrote, Lions suck. Chris, shots fired, writes, is Freebeer smart for being fair weather with his marriage then? You know, that I don't know. I would like to discuss with you my brilliance of my big radio giveaway. A few weeks ago, the immortal Joe Mama from Q100 said to me, Easy, you are the one that's going to give away front row tickets to see Foghat on Friday, September 27th. Can you think of a clever way to give them away, different than just be the correct caller? I said, yes, ma'am. I will do that. I then conducted that interview with Scott Holt from Foghat. Now, on Q100, we don't play big, long interviews. That's not what the station was built on. Bob says, foghorn for Foghat. So it was suggested that I play short little clips of the interview. I go, totally cool. I get it. That's what I would do too. That's a good thing to do. So, you know, kind of like what I did yesterday in this podcast when I played you that clip of him. That's what I did. I was like, okay, here we go. This is Scott from Foghat, and this is what he thinks about playing on the road or whatever. Play that. And then yesterday, I started telling the audience, I go, okay, Friday, tomorrow, this is when I'm talking on Thursday, I'm giving away tickets for Foghat. Jimmy writes, are they still alive? Yeah. Well, one guy, the drummer is Roger Earl, and he's actually one of Rolling Stone listed him as like 35th all-time greatest drummer, Roger Earl from Foghat, formerly of Savoy Brown. You might know that name, Jimmy. English blues band. One guy died, two guys quit. The lead singer, Dave Peverett, died in 2000. They replaced him with Charlie Hune from right here in Grand Rapids. I told that story about how I ran into him on an airplane. He listened to the Free Beer and Hot Wings show. Really nice guy. He retired 2 years ago, Charlie Hune. And they tapped Scott Holt to be the new lead singer. Scott Holt became famous by touring with Buddy Guy, Eric Clapton, and a number of other great blues artists. But he was always a in-the-background guy. Well, Foghat said, we want you to be like our backup in case Charlie Hune gets sick or something. You know, a contingency plan. And he did that well, but he had other projects he was working on. Well, then the day came that Charlie retired, and Roger Earl says, hey, do you want to be the lead singer? He goes, God damn it. Hell yeah, I want to be the lead singer. So here he is. So then I said to the audience, I go, look, people only know 4 Foghat songs. Stone Blue, Fool for the City, Slow Ride, Take It Easy. And I Just Want to Make Love to You, their version of that old blues standard. I'm going to play 3 songs for you from Foghat on Friday, including one from the new album. All you have to do is write down the songs that I play between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. Those 3 songs. I'll tell you the names of them after they play. But you better start listening right at 6 because you don't know when I'm going to play it. So I'm explaining this to the audience. Now, again, These folks live north of the hard living line. You don't know how well they're going to listen. I repeated this many times on Thursday. And then I said, after the last song finishes, and only after it's done, you need to call me. Caller 5, or the first correct caller thereafter, who lists those 3 songs, wins front row. That's it. I repeated it about 5 times on Thursday. I repeated it today. I started playing my songs. First I played I Just Want to Make Love to You. Great song. Piano Finger Banger says this is way too complex for them. Well, I don't think you're the only person to think that, frankly. Because I then played the second song by Foghat, and it's from the new album. It's called Driving On. In fact, I'm going to play you some of it so that you can get an idea of what Scott Holt sounds like. Okay? Everybody's heard. Okay. I think you can hear it. That's Roger right there, the old guy.
It's 2 a.m.
This is Scott.
Long way to go. It's dark all over. The moon starting to glow. Gotta stay awake no matter what I do. Wanna see my girl when the night is through. I'm driving on, and I gotta be strong, and it won't be long. I'm driving on.
So you got a real LaGrange vibe to it.
She'll be waiting
Slide guitar there.
for me to pull in.
Love the shirt, Keith Richards.
I'll be so happy to let loving be.
All right, so that's fun. I'll play the whole goddamn song. This isn't a music show. That's Foghat's Driving On. That's the guy I talked to, the bald dude. As we approach the 8 o'clock hour, I've got 2 songs under my belt. I got to play one more. I'm going to play Slow Ride, Take It Easy. That's like an 8-minute song. I get a text from JC. He writes, this ought to be interesting. Now, what he means by that is, EZ, you're north of the hard living line. How's this going to go? So I played Foghat, Slow Ride, my 3rd song. Halfway through it, the phone rings. Q100. Guy goes, hey, how's it going? I go, not bad, buddy. What can I do for you? He goes, am I caller 5? And I go, well, no. I'm not going to start taking the calls until the song is done. Oh, okay. He hangs up. That's it. I got 0 calls after that until the song finished. And then the song finished, and my fucking phone blows up. All right? Caller 1, keep trying. Caller 2, keep trying. I mean, it's really going. And as one's ringing, I see another one comes in and another one comes in. They got it. I pick up the phone, and this guy, his name is Todd. I go, Q100, hi, who is this? This is Todd. Hey, Todd. What color am I? Todd, you're 5. He goes, oh, my God. I go, all right, buddy. You're on the clock. Okay. Song 1. I just want to make love to you. Song 2. Driving on. Song 3. Slow Ride. I go, God damn! I go, Todd, what? You did it! Oh my God! I can't believe it! This is the greatest day of my life! This is so much better than the time when a coyote ate out my eye! That motherfucker crushed it. Chris says it reminds me of the people who used to call during the Sudden Death podcast for tickets to something huge was doing. Ryan says that's like the old days. You could have gone up to caller 18, them northern folk keeping terrestrial radio breathing. It's true. And I actually had that conversation with somebody the other day about how the fall of radio. And I said, but north of the hard living line, it's different. People actually do listen to the radio north of the hard living line. The actual old school radio. So I was stoked. I mean, it was fantastic. And I got done. I gave the guy the tickets. He's going to be front row, you know. And he's going to smell the Ben Gay. The band is going to see his toothless grin. It's going to be incredible. Holy shit. God bless him. So everything worked. So mental note. That's probably as complex as I want to do this. All right. Megan writes, Michelle McCormick, who's a friend of Megan's and mine, just made a TikTok about how great radio was because she heard some old song. But a radio lady would say it's great. Yeah. You know, I think, radio can be great, but it's going to have to earn it back. And that remains to be seen. Can they pull it off? Joe is still fighting with Linda, who I don't think is fighting with you. Donut Dan says, imagine that. Hill Jacks, who are smart, makes me wonder about their thoughts and beliefs also. Okay, I don't know. Chris says there's no way they could guess the song played backwards. You know, I might have to open that up. Can you imagine if I busted out the game I used to play, Backspin? Hey, that's right. It's C93, the home of rock and roll, with your old pal Easy. Cecil's going to check in. Hey, poor boy. That's right. Shut up, Cecil. And we're going to play some songs backward. You guess what it is? You're going to get a free drink ticket at the Auburn Corn Festival. My God. So I was stoked about that. A good time, to be sure. I love my time on Q100. I am really liking that gig. You can listen on the app. Go to the App Store and search WQON. And there it is. Joe Martinez says he is not fighting with Linda. It's a friendly rivalry, even though she is blind. Joe likes you, Linda, and that's good because I know you love him. Linda was worried about that, Joe Martinez, that you were actually worried. She was worried that you didn't like her. She texted me that. She said, I love that man. He's great. He's a sweet soul. Piano Finger Banger writes, this reminds me of the time Hot Wings fucked up the contest with the NASCAR drivers. NASCAR driver numbers. I vaguely remember that. All right. Megan says to Joe Martinez, how much bread did you eat out of the back of that car? Now, I'm not sure what that is a reference to. I want to know more about trunk bread. Speaking of Megan, I want you to save the date for December 20th. In the afternoon, after I get done podcasting, I leave here and I meet Mike Ball at Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid, and EV. He is going to have his trailer full of all of the food that your donations has purchased. Don't send the money now. We'll talk about that later. We are going to buy 150 Christmas dinners. A ham, a bag of potatoes, the gravy, the stuffing, a pumpkin pie, and the rolls. Everything you need for a fantastic Christmas meal. Friday, December 20th, people in the community will drive up and say, can I get a Christmas meal? And we go, yes, God bless you. And you put it in their car, and then they go to the next spot. That's the ham station. All right? After that, they roll forward to the tampon station. The tampon station is full of feminine hygiene products, which sometimes people who, might be experiencing some financial distress actually don't have the money to afford those. Like, they got to make a cut in the budget. So imagine that. So we provide through donations and like actual donations of feminine hygiene products or cash donations where we buy them. We provide all of the necessary things. And we had a full variety last year. We had pads. We had those thinner shield type deals. We had Tampax pearls. We had all the high absorbency deals. And we even had, for some women who prefer these, and there's really no appropriate or less, more palatable way to describe these, but palatable probably not a good word. Period cups, which these things are unbelievable. The cups, like, attach, kind of like, can you picture, like if you're at like a horse stable and there's that fucking oat bucket that the horse has on and he's going, bom, 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 bom. Picture the vagina is the horse head and the oat bucket is the period cup. And instead of the vagina eating what's in the period cup is catching what is leaving the vagina during that time of the month. This is a critical period of time, and some women, I guess, prefer these things. Now, I can't imagine, I don't know enough about menstruation because I've not had this. But some people prefer these. So we even have period cups. Mediocrity Dave says, oh my God, it's exactly what I was picturing. A feed bag for the vag. Piano Finger Banker also writes, said by EZ 2024, quote, period cups. These things are unbelievable. Jeremy writes, if a tampon is Dracula's teabag, great joke, by the way. I love that. Is the period cup his teacup? Ryan writes, quote, you got to try the period cups, folks. Incredible, actually, the technology and such. It's almost like you wrote that as Trump. Weird. Maureen says, in the words of Meathead, that's a great analogy. It's a great analogy, guy. All right. Now, why am I bringing all this up? Because we need our volunteers. December 20th. All you got to do is meet us there. I haven't yet figured out the time, but I'm guessing 2-ish, 3-ish. About when we do it, you know. We're a pretty low-maintenance bunch. Rebecca says, I was going to volunteer, but I can't get it off work. Well, I appreciate the thought. So does everybody else. Ryan says, I put in for a volunteer day that day and am approved. I'm in. Damn right. That's some new blood. I don't think you were there. I don't know if anybody remembers. It might have been year one when Saul was there, Blind Saul. And this was a fantastic moment because one of the regulars who's been there every year has been Sarah. I don't know if Sarah's in here right now. Typically, she might be working, but I know she listens. But Saul was there participating. And I remember this, he was getting ready to leave. And for some reason, he didn't have a belt on, and his pants were a little loose. You know, sometimes getting from point A to point B when you are without sight can result in, I don't know, sometimes it's weird, I guess. But anyway, he's getting in the car, and his little, because Saul's tiny. He's a little fella. His granimals started to fall below his waist, and you could see a pretty large percentage of his ass. And goddamn, everyone was in awe. No one said anything except Sarah. So poor Saul's ass is exposed as he's getting into the car. I think his mother was there. And, you know, whatever. Get in the car, and Megan says, this was the fucking funniest. It really was, because Megan saw it, and of course she's like, just, there's no reason to say anything. And then it cut through the awkward silence. The voice of Sarah that said, God damn, you got a hairy ass, Saul. You're a furry little fucker. Oh my God. God damn, you got a hairy little ass, Saul. You're a furry little fucker. Now, Saul's dad is a very prominent rabbi. I'm guessing Saul's mother was picking him up, and she's like, what the fuck? What is my son associated with? At the time, Saul was probably like 20. And the mom's like, oh, Jesus fucking A. Goddamn, Saul, you got a hairy ass. You're a furry little fucker, is what she said. And I'm like, oh, God. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Incredible. Sarah, see, now I would never, ever do anything to stifle the awesomeness of our beloved Sarah. But there was a learning curve, because she's been the same from day one to now that I've known her. And she won't ever compromise who she is. And thank God. It's like up to you. She's a classic take it or leave it. And I take it. I love to take it. If you want to clip that, you can. Sarah being Sarah is a world that I want to live in. Wasn't always like that. At that time, when she's saying, "God damn, you got a hairy ass, Saul. You're a furry little fucker." I was like, what the fuck? My God. I was in Tennessee visiting the Smokies. Sarah was there with Brad and her son. That was the time that we all jumped in the same car and drove to have a Zaniac dinner. The car ride there and back was absolutely epic because, in particular, Brad kept having to take a leak because he had some road beers, and she accused him of having a tiny bladder to begin with. And sure enough, we're driving back, and every 15 minutes he's got to piss. So she knew this going in and after he started drinking. So anytime we stop, if he's like, didn't get out of the car, she goes, "Get the fuck out. Go piss. I don't give a shit if you have to piss or not. You go over there and you piss." She's like screaming at him, "Everybody get out." Her son, him, "Get out." It was awesome. All right. The Cook sisters will be volunteering. Bob says you should reach out to Justin and see if he wants to volunteer. You mean Justin Nettlebeck? You know, if I call him again, he's going to snap. I still can't get over the fact that he thinks an effective way of getting me to stop calling him is to call the radio station boss. What the fuck? What is that going to do? That doesn't do anything. Jeremy says he has a new clip for me to check out. I think there was more than one. Okay, I'm going to go through. Okay, this is the most recent one that just finished up. On Twitch, you have the ability, if you just hit the little action clapper thing, to quickly clip videos. And I take it. I love to take it. All right, that one for sure has been approved. This next one says, in context moment, easy understands slavery. Now it makes sense why the South wanted to hang on to slavery. I think I farted in the middle of that. Did you see that? Now it makes sense why the South wanted to hang on to slavery. Okay. All right. I'll approve that one. You know, if you could, though, in the future, could you write out of context? Because, you know, if I have to explain, I'm still going to get canceled. So can you change it to where it says, if it's me saying, yeah, I take it, it's okay to say in context. I can't be canceled for saying I take it. But if it says in context moment and then easy understand slavery, makes sense why the South wanted to hang on to slavery. That's going to require me to explain something. So don't do that. This one says, yet another easy out of context moment for guys. So weird. I was afraid that if I walked over there, some like weird memory would come rushing back. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, no, my God, there's 4 guys in my butt. Oh, Eric, why are you crying? Oh, it's here. This is where it happened. 4 guys in my butt right here. Oh my God. So stupid. Let's see, what the hell is this? Kenny made this one, but I don't know what the fuck it says. It just says Act 2, Easy Live. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, no, my God, there's 4 guys. Okay, it's the same clip. That we talked about on Friday. So while I was driving there, once we got there, I go, I wonder how close that camp is. And this is how close it was. You walk down to the beach, walk north 1/2 mile, and that is the beach of the camp, the summer camp that I was at, where the bad man touched me. My God. So weird. I was afraid that if that one's just sad. We can't go another minute without listening to this again.
Into their brochure, and they're very receptive to that.
Oh, good, good. Because that's like. Oops, sorry. I was just gonna. Oh, we totally keep interrupting each other. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was awkward.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. You're a great interviewer.
Thank you. Where the bad, did I say where the bath man touched me, or did I say where the bad man touched me? Jeremy says, I'll take your request into consideration, EZ. Well, thank you. Geez, I appreciate that. The chair adjustment fart really makes that clip. A careless big fraud ass. Thank you. All right. We're already an hour into this thing. It's a typical Friday. Loosey-goosey, fun. I love doing these shows, but for some reason, they're always fun. But in particular, Fridays are more fun, typically after Big Fraud Thursday. Or if we do it on a Wednesday, Big Fraud Thursday, or Big Fraud Wednesday, and then the show after. It just kind of moves. So thank you for being part of it. For folks who are watching on Facebook and YouTube, the rest of my show is on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. If you could, head over to there and check out the rest of the show. If you could, make out your own little username so you can contribute on the chat. We can continue to have fun building the audience that way. You can also download the Twitch app. A lot of people get the show on the Twitch app. To get it, you download it in the App Store. Then just search Eric Zane Live, all one word, and off you go. My Patreon is free for 7 days. We just finished up episode number 28 of Who Are These Free Beers and show number 167 of the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast yesterday. Enjoy those and whatever else you want for 7 days free at patreon.com/Eric Zane. You do have to put in a payment form when you sign up, but just cancel it right after. So you're signing up, canceling. Huh? What? Yeah, you still get the 7 days free. I do that so that you won't inadvertently get charged if you forget about it. I don't want your money that way. I want your money if you like the content. So then after the 7 days, you can then make your informed decision whether it's worth $5 or $10 a month, and then just sign up again. It keeps your payment form on file, but you have to approve it to charge you. It's an excellent way of doing it. $5 a month is all of the audio. Nothing live. $10 a month. $10 a month is the audio. Everything live. The video, live streams, and the Zoom to be part of the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. You get a lot more for the $10 a month. And it helps keep the lights on. I get emails on the Shoreliner Striping inbox, eric@ericzaneshow.com. Please reach out if you'd like to chat. I love it when people email me. Don't ever be a stranger. If you have any concerns, criticisms, you want to send me links to stories that are interesting, I would love that. That helps me produce the show so that we have interesting things to discuss that you think are interesting. Then if you think it's interesting, more than likely I'm going to think it's interesting as well. Okay. Thanks to the folks on Facebook and YouTube